since the first test of the Agni 5 that took place in 2012. Analysts from all around the globe have been speculating on when India would conduct its successor. In 2013, the chairman of the DRDO at the time, V.K. Saraswat, said that the organization was working on a long-range ballistic missile with the capability of carrying multiple warheads. This would make it possible for a single weapon system to eliminate many targets at the same time. He also said that work is now being done in this sector, that designs have been finalized, and that the project is now in the phase of hardware realization. However, it has been 9 years since the remarks, and there has not been even a single official update on Agni 6 throughout this time. What is the reason for this delay, or is it possible for India to develop an ICBM with a range of 10,000 kilometers? Any nation with a successful space program is believed to be able to target and use nuclear weapons anywhere in the world. Because if they can launch a large or even medium-sized satellite into higher Earth orbit, they can eventually use their space launch vehicles to destroy any location on the planet. And India has a successful space program called ISRO. Soon after New Delhi successfully launched its first satellite in 1980 using the SLV-3 rocket developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam began applying the technology of space launch vehicles to the development of ballistic missiles. In the late 1980s, India conducted the first test flight of its surface-to-surface Agni technology demonstration missile, and the technology that was used by SLV-3 rockets was also utilized by the missile. The Agni 1 has a range of 700 to 1,200 kilometers. Following that, the 4-stage Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle was then developed. It used a mixture of solid and liquid-fueled stages. The second stage of the Agni 2 missile was almost taken entirely from the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle program. The missile has 2 stages, each of which is powered by a solid fuel propulsion system. This gives the missile a fair amount of mobility and adaptability. The missile has a range of more than 2,000 kilometers and can reach all of Pakistan and most parts of southeastern China. India's Agni series missiles were upgraded concurrently with the country's advancements in space technology. India also made other types of Agni missiles, such as the Agni 3, which can travel up to 3,500 kilometers, and the Agni 4, which can travel up to 4,000 kilometers. But the Agni 5 intercontinental ballistic missile, which had a range of between 5,500 kilometers, was the real game changer. India now has a counter-force capability, thanks to Agni 5's increased payload and multiple independently targeted re-entry vehicle capabilities, both of which boast high levels of accuracy. This is most definitely a message of a higher degree, directed for possible adversary. With the launch of Agni 5, India has signaled to the rest of the world. Despite the fact that it does not engage in preemptive nuclear strikes, and that it has maintained a counter-value capability thus far, in the event that anyone actually employs a nuclear weapon against India. India is now able to launch a counter-force capability against the nuclear strike forces of its adversary. The successful launch of India's Agni 5 missile continues to ruffle feathers in China, which has said that India has deliberately downplayed its capabilities. Chinese analysts believe that the missile has the capability of reaching targets up to 8,000 kilometers distant. However, Indian officials have said that the missile can cover a distance of over 5,000 kilometers. The United States has the belief that India could convert its Polar Space Launch Vehicle into an intercontinental ballistic missile with a significant range increase within a year. This is due to the fact that the majority of the components required for an ICBM are already available in India as a result of India's indigenous space program. In 2018, the head of the DRDO, Dr. Selwyn, stated that the organization is capable of developing an intercontinental ballistic missile that is able to hit targets at a distance greater than 10,000 kilometers. He also stated that, in addition to the ICBM's ground version, the organization is simultaneously working out its underground variant. According to him, when the United States, the United Kingdom, and other nations put a prohibition on the import of components for laser technology, India was able to develop laser technology on its own, and has since been self-sufficient in this area. One possible explanation is that India does not want its Western allies to raise their eyebrows at the situation. Since the United States and the majority of Europe are not within the strike range of the Agni 5, there is little cause for concern in those countries' capitals over New Delhi's Agni 5 missile development. This became abundantly clear when India was authorized to join in the missile technology control regime. On the other hand, an Indian intercontinental ballistic missile program with a range that is capable of striking important cities throughout the globe may be perceived differently. The effective range of ballistic missiles is a hotly debated topic. Many countries in Europe and academics in the United States suggest that India should not build an intercontinental ballistic missile with a range of 10,000 kilometers or more, since China is its most distant adversary. It is possible that the United States and certain European nations may get irritated if India reveals Agni 6. However, many in India would argue that if China was permitted to develop ballistic missiles with ranges more than 10,000 kilometers, then there is no reason why India should be left behind. Remember India's anti-satellite missile test? The anti-satellite missile was ready following the launch of the Agni 5 missile in 2012, but it was not tested until April 15, 2019, and now the same thing is happening with the Agni 6 missile. When India conducted the missile test, it caught the world community by surprise in an unfavorable way. However, India's main allies like Russia and the United States stood behind the country and defended its missile test. The Pentagon told the Senate Armed Services Committee that India's anti-satellite weapons test was only done because the country is worried about threats from space. It was the ideal time for India to conduct the test of the weapon so that it would not startle its other allies. The same could be said about India's test of the Agni 6 missile. It's possible that India is looking for a hospitable geopolitical situation to test its ICBM without scaring off its allies in Europe and the US. Agni 6 is believed to have the code name Surya, which means the sun. It was shown at an exhibition at IIT Kanpur, which proves that it exists, and DRDO scientists have never denied that this program exists. So, it is safe to assume that India is capable of producing intercontinental ballistic missiles with a range of more than 10,000 kilometers. However, the big question is, will India test Agni 6 in the next 3 years?